make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door. It's the Richard Wilmore Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Wilmore.
Thanks for taking the time to do this, guys.
It's our pleasure, absolutely.
So, can we go maybe around the room and introduce yourselves? Tell us about your character a little bit.
Absolutely. You want to start?
My name is Eddie Holiday. I play Nixon. What's the exact? Sandman Grady.
Yeah, he's the opponent.
I'm Nixon. I'm Grady Sanders' opponent, competitor, like cocky guy at the end who is expect to beat Grady Sanders. So it's an interesting film.
And I'm James Quinn. I play Grady Sanders and also the Sandman. It's a parallel character. It was my writing. It was a story that I had come up with probably about a year and a half ago. We wanted to come up with a unique boxing film with that had a little bit of a sci-fi element that we haven't seen before in a film. And so we thought, man, what a great group of people to try to pull something off like that. And I think we really established that well. To my left here.
Jose Caraballo. I played the Puerto Rican prince. I was the fighter who defeated the Sandman.
I'm Jillian O'Neill, and I play Paige. I play the wife, and it's a really cool role because it's not your standard. She's not exactly happy that he wants to go back into boxing. It's just a real life story of the family and how that affects her as a family unit. So I really enjoyed this role.
My name is Matt Donovan. I'm actually the in-ring manager to the champ over here that is hoping to hold on to this title.
Okay. I'm Patrick Egan, and I had the pleasure to play the ring announcer in the final fight of the movie.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how the movie came about, why you started writing it? I know you've been filming it for a while. We've been trying to schedule this interview for a long time.
Absolutely, and I'm glad our schedules finally have coincided that we can do such. It's been a heck of a ride. A couple years ago, when things slowed down a minute, we were thinking about coming up with a unique film that we wanted to do, and so we wanted to create something that people haven't seen. And in boxing films, you always, you tend to see that boxer down on his luck in the comeback, and we know that story's there, and it's in this one as well. But we wanted to come up with a boxing film that was unique, that would draw people in. We have a lot of athletic actors that are on our crew that wanted to do something different together. A lot of us do have a boxing background, and so it was nice to come up with a story that could really cater to that. And at the time, I had been going through a lot of different things in my life and in an old career. I was involved in union politics. I went up against a corrupt union and found myself blackballed trying to figure out a way to save my home. And you see a lot of these things implemented in this story, so this is that story we told. What we also have is the middleweight champion of the world. Grady's the former middleweight champion. This entity, this Sandman, had been taking over his body while he was the champion 10 years earlier. It was helping him take that extra edge. It was that supernatural element that nobody could stop. And at a certain point, Grady decided he wanted to do things on his own. He wanted to do it without the Sandman. He wanted to be his own guy again. And so he inevitably lost the title. And so he had to go into the family business, which is where it coincides with my own life. I was an amateur fighter at one time, so it was really great to be able to apply that to actually a personal story. And so we have the element then was where Grady goes into the family business. He's involved in construction for about a decade. He goes into the union politics of labor and finds himself in a really bad position of, do I sell out or do I help the membership that 3 generations of his family prior to him had been a part of building this union? And so he decides to go ahead on with it. He finds out real quick that he loses, and that everything's up in here because for a long time he was a fighter, then he was a labor guy, now who is he? So he's, another year or so goes by, he's juggling all kind of different odds and end jobs, but it's not getting it done. At the end of the day, the only thing he knows how to do is go back to the ring, but the question remains is does he want to try to summon the Sandman again? Is that Sandman still there? Does he really want to bring back this entity that took over him so deeply before? And so I think that's where really it's interesting, is having that underlying character. And
The sci-fi mixed with it, it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
It is.
different, really different.
I lost that boxing championship 10 years ago because of head trauma. Not because I wasn't ready.
We need $10,000 to save this home. We can't refinance, and the bank is breathing down our back every day about the house.
We won't lose this time, I promise.
And how can you be so sure?
I'm here to talk to you about maybe we, fighting again.
Fighting.
Yeah.
Stack the deck against you. You're not the Sandman anymore. Look, legends live. People don't. Let your legend live on.
Lady, the Sandman Sanders!
Can you talk about that mix of sci-fi a little bit?
yeah, we wanted to, I don't want to say confuse the audience, but we wanted to kind of leave some of it open to interpretation here. But it's a supernatural being that it spiritually takes over the Sandman. You will see it. You'll see it in his eyes. You'll hear it in his voice. It's more of like a demonic possession type voice where you hear the Sandman. There's a very distinct difference between the Sandman and Grady when he takes over. His eyes will go black when he becomes a Sandman, and that's something that you will see in the film. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's one that people have taken to. And so when that entity's there, he's the only ones that really know truly who the Sandman is his wife, Paige, his trainer, Marcus, who couldn't be here today. But those are the people that truly know that the Sandman isn't just a character in the ring. It isn't, even though the fans think it's just this badass character that just takes over. In the ring, it is, but they don't realize that there's that supernatural being that's inside him that's helping him to do this. Only a few people do, and the people closest to him don't want him to go down that avenue again because it was very tough to break away the first time. It's like I said, it's almost a case of possession.
Are you done filming?
We are, yes, we are finished filming. We're actually in the film festival circus right now. We got 2 festivals in Las Vegas coming up here in late August, international festivals that we're part of. And so there'll be more to come. We're just waiting to hear back from many, many festivals that we will be hoping to travel to throughout the course of the rest of the year.
Are you all actors? Like before this? Is this your first acting gig, or what's everyone's kind of backstory before this film?
I'm Jose again, and no, I was an actor before this. I was a retired professional fighter. I fought for 10 years professionally. I retired due to an injury, and I got back into acting, which I did commercials when I was younger. But then I ended up landing a big role in the feature film Southpaw with Jake Gyllenhaal, Curtis Jackson. It was done by Antoine Fuqua. Rachel McAdams was in it. I'm sure you've probably seen it.
Yeah.
Well, I played Ellie Frost. I was the head of Team Hope in that film. So, with the boxing background and James and the great cast and the ideas that they brought, it was just by luck to me that I fit in with a good project, and we did this.
Wow. The whole team it was just one of those cast experiences where it just made sense. Everybody's chemistry was spot on, and everybody put heart into it. Everybody believes in this project, and I think that's what makes it so special.
Are you the only female in the film?
Oh, am I the only female? I have a daughter that's in the film, like our family, our stage daughter we have. But that was an interesting element for me as in playing it. I wasn't involved in any of the fight scenes or anything like that. So our unit and our thing as a family was so important. I didn't feel at all like I was the only female because that's husband and wife. We go through so much together in this film. That tug and pull, she had always been there for him in the past. So, and went through, you know, all of the highs and the lows of his whole career. So once they finally got over that and they were functioning as a family, everything was seeming to be okay, even though they had extreme financial difficulties and were dealing with that as a family. Just the idea of Grady approaching to go back into the ring again was a really hard thing for the character Paige to even take on, because she had already been there. She went through everything with him, and to actually think about going another round with this as that career again, it was really hard for her to be supportive. And that element is just very true in real life. So I think that that character was something really nice to play.
And that character is equally as important as Grady himself. I mean, without Paige, there's no Grady, and vice versa. It's a give and take type relationship. But there are other female characters as well. Like you said, Sydney, who played our daughter Kara, another very, very talented actress. We also had Cheryl Soros, who's a Pittsburgh actress here in Pittsburgh as part of the film. And I should probably clarify by saying that this version of the film that's complete is our short film version. It's in the festivals right now. Our feature film is currently in what we call the pre-production stages. So we're going to that here very soon. But right now we got a lot of traction with the short version, and while we're meeting with locations and investors and the rest of our team on the feature, the short version is what we're actually promoting out there right this moment. I think people get excited for a fight film or a boxing film, because they don't come around often, and when they do, they usually have that special element that drives people in. I think everybody loves that, that comeback story, and I think it's still something that was true with Rocky in the late 70s all the way till with Southpaw, and then now with Sandman.
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. It was great. Thanks for having us on the show.
Anytime.
Take care.